Oh yeah. Episode 27, yeah. Lego. A deeper look into the Geno Boys. What's the craze about Cardenas crazy? The death of A.W. McCool and the future. Let us analyze the evidence on this episode of Bulldog Court. Bulldog community, please rise. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game.
Court is now in session.
Like a heavyweight sacket out, we back. Another episode of Bulldog Court. Episode 27. This your boy, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. You underdig. You could have been anywhere else in the Bulldog streets, but you're here to rock out with your boy for a little while, and I'm so happy that you did. You underdig. I'd like to thank everybody for last week's special live episode of Bulldog Court. It was a success. It was a little on the tardy side of the game. Running a little bit behind because of technical difficulties. I still got to get a hold of this live thing. And once I get a hold of those things, I'll be able to do a little bit more lives and a little bit more random thoughts and opinions and more Bulldog Court lives. I enjoyed the interaction. I enjoyed the conversation. I'd like to thank Bulldogging with Both for continuing the conversation on Sunday night to talk about the termite dogs and the difference between the Red Boy Jocko and termite, and does the Red Boy Jocko dogs do they include the termite dogs in their world? And then the discussion on the crossing of the crab dogs into the morphin or heavy front nose booger line of dogs to create a super tooth. That's right. Don't nobody trademark my stuff. I said it first. Super tooth type of dog. I'd like to thank everybody for the commentary on that. I'd like to thank Bulldog with Bo. I wish them continued success. And like I say, every time, maybe I miss it at the beginning, but I'm going to get it this time. I am not the judge nor jury, for it is up to you, the Bulldog community, to decide which way the tide may roll. Now let us get into our first case. A deeper look at the Geno Boys. Let us get into this. When we look at the Geno Boys, there's many different ways I could have taken this, but for the sake of time restraints, I have to start here. Before we can get into the Geno Boys, we have to get into a bit of a origin of a dog that was behind the spearhead of the Geno Boys for the quality of Bulldogs. And we will start with fastest spark plug, register of merit, bred by T. Walker, owned by the Geno Boys. We have to start here. This is a heavy balls grand champion Queen of Heart dog. Yes, I understand that Dirty Mary does show up in grand champion Queen of Heart's pedigree, but I primarily look at her as a balls bred dog, but not by brand. And she's pretty much a Bolio boomerang dog, but nevertheless, all combinations that work well and are very similar in family to the Boys line. Boys also has the Bolio from Pat Patch's Red Baby, who is the dam of Dirty Mary. I digress. This is a dog that was bred by T. Walker, so we knowing that this is a top quality back in that time. And called the Firm's Champion Rocky. She would also produce Geno's Poison, one-time winner POR. Geo's Blondie Mix, one-time winner. Geno's Beef Sausage, two-time winner, two-time best in show. Exceptional Animal. And she would produce also for Ferris's producer dog called Ferris's Randy Boy and Ferris's Patches. But we're gonna stick right here on the Firm's Champion Rocky. Now, this dog is off Spark Plug, bred to a Red Boy Jocko Robinson's Bed Bug dog. They bred Grand Champion JR to Robinson's Bed Bug to get Robinson's Red Ruby. So yet another Boys Red Boy Jocko with the Metlands Outlaw cross dog coming out of the state of Florida. I'm beginning to see a pattern here, or as Twin would say, a pattern here with these dogs in this combination coming out of the state of Florida during a certain time period. Excellent cross. I don't have to say it, but I will. But we know, of course, the proof is in the pudding. And they would use this. This also is a dog that was bred by the Geno Boys, owned by the firm that would produce Geno's Tupac, registered American. Geno's Cover Girl, two-time winner. Geno Boys Jr. The Firm's Crazy, two-time winner. The Firm's Champion Trouble, four-time winner. So as we can see, outstanding producing dogs here. We just going by the peds. And so they primarily are using for this strand a heavy balls, cross dogs. And I want to go to another, and that is Geno's T-Boy. You got Geno's T-Boy was out of Geno's Rocky 2 and Bring the Pain Crazy Mary, who was out for Milkman's Champion Hitman and Bring the Pain's Fancy. Abraham's Bull, Punch's Fancy, of, double bred Abraham Bull here. And we seeing more balls and Queen of Hearts being brought in. My question to the Bulldog community, when I look at these dogs, I'm just touching on just this one particular strand of the Geno Boys and these outstanding animals that came from this line. I would look at them as being some of the a perfect cross into dogs that I mentioned on cases previously, which is the Grand Champion Gingerbread dogs, the Champion Samantha dog, those particular strands that came out of Willie, bred to, which is a Cruise Rocket Red Boy Jocko dog. So these will be outstanding animals to breed into each other because they are similar in background and family. Also too, I could see some Gaston being brought in to these families of dogs as well. I could see the Champion 357 blood being brought in. I could even see Mayday blood being crossed into dogs of this origin. I'm sure it's been done before by these strands, but I could just see what that would make sense as far as origin, family, and the ability to cross well together. But never mind about what I think. I look forward to your commentary in the chat. I look forward to your comments in the replay gang, and to see what your observation is when it comes to this bloodline. What do you think? Those of you that have had experiences with Geno Boys blood, please share your experiences with this bloodline. And for this case, a deeper look at the Geno Boys, this case is now dismissed. We'll get back to the show after these important messages.
Add these reading materials to your historical literature collection of the American Pit Bull Terrier. The Big Red Handbook, Family Bred and Raised, Dogs, Dogmen, and Bloodlines, and the Schoolboy Keep. Contact Richard Schoolboy Garcia on Messenger and purchase your part of history today.
Oh, yeah. And for my second case, what's the craze about Cardenas Crazy?
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
What is this all about? I've been hearing about this dog here and there for a while. And I will place the pedigree of Cardenas Crazy, or as Schoolboy Garcia says it the correct way, Cardenas Crazy. Cardenas. That is the way that you're supposed to pronounce that name, but we in America, we're gonna make our own thing to your name now. We're gonna rename you now. Cardenas Crazy, for folks that won't get what I'm saying or come in at the middle of the conversation. Cardenas Crazy has been spoken of in high regard on many occasions, with all high marks. I've never heard a bad word about Cardenas Crazy, but I always wondered, what's the craze with this dog? What's up with this dog? The reason why people always ask, it was a Mr. Cardenas at the South Bottom show. Beautiful brindle. And I remember Rasta Man Boom asking, when he heard the name Mr. Cardenas, he said, is that dog coming down off of Cardenas Crazy? And I'm like, what's up with everybody asking about Cardenas Crazy? So we're going to look at the pedigree on this dog, and we're going to see what's going on with Cardenas Crazy. Okay, so when we look at the pedigree, we see that he's off Cardenas King and Cardenas Cleo, both being half brother sister off of Gonzalez's champion Kubo. Okay, when we look at the dams of both King and Cleo, they are off of Cardenas or Boudreaux's T-Bud. Gonzalez's champion Kubo is also off of T-Bud. So in the third generation on his pedigree, every dog in this pedigree, when we look at this, Cardenas or Boudreaux's T-Bud is the sire of every one of the dogs in the second generation. I'm gonna say it again. Cardenas or Boudreaux's T-Bud is the sire of every one of the dogs in the second generation. All of them are off of T-Bud. Kubo is off T-Bud. Tosca is off of T-Bud. Kubo again off T-Bud. Stonebiter off T-Bud. So we seeing a very, very heavy Eli Lonzo bred animal with a touch of front nose booger. You front nose booger gonna show up, I'm telling you, across that borderline. Front nose booger will show up in the pedigree. You understand me? Now, as I begin to look at the offspring, one half caught my eye. Possibly two.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
But I'm looking at.
Somebody come and look at this. Look at this.
Cardenas Negretta 2. Now, she comes off of Crazy, bred to a 2-time winner, Cardenas Negretta, off of Boudreaux's little buddy in Flores, Louisiana. Now, Louisiana goes back to the grand champion Taylor's Misty and the Patrick Zachariah. Patrick Zachariah is not a Bolio dog. He is in fact a heavy Bullison dog. The Stomper Kilroy type blood. Very excellent producer, a hidden gem, if you will, of a dog that produced a ton of dogs with a ton of mouth. And so now the reason why I'm looking at the Greta 2 is because I know of and have heard of her producing power. Outstanding Bulldog in her producing power herself. Unprecedented. Immaculate. Incredible. It really would take somebody like Nonstop to really go in on this. I'm just going to touch on this and just highlight that with my highlighter. But I'm going to proceed on because he could be able to go in far more depth than I could. I'm going to go on to Crazy Jr. is what I'm going to. The plot thickens as we get into this. And we can see where Crazy Jr. is a double-bred son of Crazy. But he will produce a dog. His bottom quarter is Cardenas Champion Salsa. Just some more Cardenas Shorty. The Hoodens, Hard Times mixed in there. I love that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how I feel about Cool Hand Luke. If you don't know, then now you do. But that is my own personal preference. This is not about me. And the Niggerino blood. Love all that mixed bolero, Chinaman, Niggerino, Holy Trinity in my eyes. So,
hey, bro, come on now, dog.
So, I'm looking at the offspring of Cardenas Jr. and I'm coming to see a dog called Cardenas Dirty Girl, 2-time winner. Bred outstanding. But bred back into much of the same type stuff. With, of course, some more fountain nose booger. I'm seeing a pattern here. In the words of Twin, a pattern is here. Now, there was a time when we saw an influx of Cardenas dogs in America, maybe in the early 2000s, mostly because, in my opinion, because of Tom Gardner having Gardner's Roscoe, which was a heavy Cardenas dog, and breeding, the absolute balls off of it. It had a lot of animals out here, and they did outstanding, but they kind of faded. I know Hard Copy had Uncle Cracker, 1-time winner. He was Ripper Jocko Jeep on top with the Cardenas Roscoe on the bottom, and he would produce Hard Copy's champion Super Dave. Never mind what I think. What do you think about the Cardenas Crazy dogs? Have you heard anything? Do you know of which I'm speaking of? I'd like to hear your opinion, your thoughts, opinions. And for the case of, what's the craze with Cardenas Crazy? This case is now dismissed. Yeah. And for my third and final case, the death of A.W. McCool and the future of the Carver lines. But I just presented this case as a title of the case, but it goes much deeper than just the Carver lines. This is something that I talked about in a previous case early on in Bulldog Court. This series of Bulldog Court, I talked about if a line could be resurrected and returned back into prominence or something to that sort. And I talked about who will be the next torchbearers. First of all, peace and comfort and condolences to the A.W. McCool family and for their loss, and the loss to another pillar and major contributor in the Bulldog world. Now, just in this year, we lost A.W. McCool, We have lost Mr. Lacefield, and I think earlier this year or late last year, we lost Mr. Randy Duhan. So Boomerang, Carver, all of his Carver have taken a devastating blow in the last year and a half or so. And I'm going to bring this question back up again and just ask the question to the Bulldog community. Who will be the torchbearers? Who will be the next ones to step up and preserve these families that we hold dear and we have discussed many times and in great detail about Carver and all the mysteries behind his bloodline? But who will be the ones who will carry on the legacy after these pillars have passed on? And they are passing on. And so we have to understand that in many cases, sometimes, I understand that A.W. McCool, just like Mr. Lacefield, had already passed off his dogs to someone, and maybe he had turned ill and could no longer handle the dogs. So, those dogs were in somebody's hands that he actually knew of and trusted, or had entrusted with those animals. So that's a good thing. Same thing with Mr. Lacefield. And so when we seeing these things happening, it's a challenge to the Bulldog community to see who will be the next ones to step up. This might be your opportunity to have a line, because sometimes after somebody passes of that magnitude, maybe 2 to 3 years, those dogs have disappeared from the scene. Those dogs, and it wasn't like the McCool blood was just all around, but there were some people like Royal Bull, and we saw what happened with that, who had a substantial amount of McCool blood. There are people in, of course, the Texas, Louisiana area who have it in pockets. Some people are very private, and some people only have bits and pieces of it. The Banjo blood, long as Banjo and BB Red is alive and well, of course we understand that the McCool blood will survive, because McCool Sack is the sire of Banjo and BB Red, and I believe it also is the sire of Bell Star as well. So the line will survive, but in what magnitude? So this is just me reiterating the case that I had talked about previously, and to challenge the Bulldog community to see who was willing to take on the task. We know that I've talked about the Jackson family. Is a rare family. He is getting up in age. There are so many others who are, the Blankenship dogs. This is another part of the Carver strand, with the old Blankenships Klondike, which I will do a case on and present that part of it, the monkey dog, that part of Stompanato. But who will be willing to step up and take on that challenge? So for the case of the passing of A.W. McCool and the future of the Carver line, this case is now dismissed. Oh yeah. And now it's time for my closing monologue. And like I say every time, make your next move your best move, but move strategic like a chess move. Once again, I'm going to reiterate, we're coming into the winter months. Those of us that can afford to do a little chicken broth, a little, some of that nature to boil and put that in the feed with the dogs to get them a warm meal in the winter months. I'm glad. I think they will be happy and appreciative of you for that. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. I'm out.